from the glamour and glitz of Hollywood, nestled east of downtown, lies an unincorporated area in Los Angeles County, East LA. East LA is the largest Mexican and Chicano community in the whole nation. It is home to historic Mexican-American events such as the East LA High School walkouts, Zoot Suit riots, and Chicano murals. It is also known for lowriders who cruise on Whittier Boulevard, its street food, and people, as the majority of its inhabitants are Latino immigrants. But there are issues that have been tucked away from the eye of the media and mouths of its people. In our eyes, these issues have always existed, as our families say, es algo que pasa, que siempre ha habido. But we have to start right in our homes. East Los Angeles and the Latino community face drug addiction, alcoholism, violence, prominent gang affiliation and activity, abusive households, and broken family structures. These issues are considered taboo and consequently go unaddressed in our families. But just because they are unspoken of doesn't mean they don't exist. In order to address a problem, you need to dive in and analyze the root of the cause, and this is what I hope to do in this documentary. It is common for our families to tuck away how they feel, being unable to express their emotions, and I believe this stems from intergenerational trauma. Intergenerational trauma that in turn fuels these issues that plague our community. If trauma isn't addressed in a proper and healthy way, it continues to be passed down in our family, being manifested until it is finally processed. As USC Dornsife states, immigrants are an essential part of the Los Angeles community, landscape, and overall functioning of the county. Over 1 in 3 Angelinos are immigrants, or 3.6 million. Immigration is not easy. We do not float like a feather to the other side of the border. There is blood, calluses, tears, terror, hunger, pain, and self-sacrifice that goes into coming into the U.S. for a better life. The majority of our families crossed illegally, and what they carried wasn't left at the invisible division. According to Health, the concept of intergenerational trauma was first recognized in 1966 by Vivian M. Rakoff. Rakoff and colleagues recorded high rates of psychological distress in the children of Holocaust survivors, and a 1988 study found similar results with grandchildren of Holocaust survivors. In theory, any type of extreme prolonged stress could have adverse psychological effects on children and grandchildren. When people are put under great psychological and physical stress, they begin to rely on survival instincts, and we notice that this way of living is carried by some of our families. If we connect the puzzle pieces, it might be why mental health is so overlooked. So what have the adults in our families done? They have internalized the pain. To them, what they have experienced is normal, and many are unaware of the heaviness of what they carry. It is common for some of our homes to consist of multiple generations, and the more generations, the more complex the situation becomes, because it's an intermix of experiences from multiple points of views and ages. This takes an immense toll on the youth. Our community has struggled with creating support systems, and in turn, we created our own ways to fall back upon through the generations, and these means have become prominent in our culture, common patterns that have dominated the youth for decades, such as unhealthy coping skills like drinking, drugs, and relationships that have served as a way to find stability and support. But because of many unhealthy patterns that already exist in our families, these relationships are ones that can turn unhealthy, lead to abuse or pregnancy in our under-resourced communities. In our neighborhood, we also see violence in gangs. They have served as bonds for the people and are a symbol of brotherhood and protection for the community. In East LA and the surrounding neighborhoods, such as Boyle Heights and El Sereno, gangs have existed since the 1890s. In the late 1940s and 1950s, LA consisted of multiple races, and East LA was a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood, primarily of Mexican descent. With time, the races of Los Angeles began to establish their own separate neighborhoods. Groups grew dramatically as a result of factors such as expanding immigration from Mexico, xenophobia, and prominent events such as the Sleepy Lagoon murder and the Zoot Suit riots. As the use of drugs and guns grew, killing your enemies became the norm. Narcotics, dealing marijuana, and carrying a gun eventually did too. Gangs were few through the 70s, 90s, and early 2000s, and to this day still exist, making their presence well known through graffiti. People joined and join gangs due to unstable home environments, economic instabilities, low societal expectations, or because family members already have ties to groups. If not intervened, what we see in our families is often what we become. We see that many children are born into gangs, drug addiction, and alcoholism and follow down the same path. As J. Cole says, the children in abusive households grow up knocking girlfriends out cold. That's called a cycle. Abused becomes the abuser, and that's just how life goes. Eventually, most of us will become parents, and it's up to us to break the intergenerational curses. What has been cultivated over decades won't end in a few months or even years. Our community needs and most definitely deserves to heal, and we should assess the needs that have gone neglected. So how do we heal as a community? First, the adults should recognize that the youth do experience pain and emotions that are raw and very real. If we want the nation to see our pain, our own adults need to stop dehumanizing us and reducing us to soul stereotypes. Because if we aren't valued by the own adults in our community, how can we expect to be heard by those in power? Second, we should encourage the use of mental health resources and aim to reduce the stigma that lies in the Latino community. We should learn to recognize the signs of mental illness and learn to feel comfortable receiving professional help. If we can't ask for help, services provided to us are useless. And for us, we should learn to recognize the patterns that run in our bloodlines. We can do this through therapy, analyzing our family patterns, and recognizing that we are capable of greatness. We deserve joy, we deserve to be happy, and we deserve to heal.
We live in cities you'll never see on screen. Not very pretty, but we sure know how to run free. Living in ruins, silver palace within my dreams. And you know, we're on each other's team. I'm kinda over getting told to throw my hands up